Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. JC here with another video on Action Taimanin. Today we're gonna check how to play with Felicia after her renewal, but before we start don't forget to leave a like, share and subscribe if you enjoy the content. So Felicia received a couple changes to her kit. Most notably, she now has a leader skill, so let's just start checking what she has to offer. So first of all, she's an assist type, demon type character. Demon, it is a very easy trait to enhance. Assist, there are a couple things that do enhance assist. It is not the strongest one of the colors, but definitely usable. And it has one of the strongest supporters available, fortunately. Even though there aren't many, it does have a really strong one. So let's check this leader skill. Blood Mark Tag. When attacking an enemy tagged with blood mark, your speed and attack increases by 10% for 5 seconds. You also deal 10% increased damage to the enemies tagged with blood mark. So this is really nice. She used to buff herself just a little. Now with this, she buffs herself a lot, being able to use supporters like Melt and Blue Kana. So that's really nice. Not only that, the speed increase is particularly good. She still has one of her most notable weaknesses even after the renewal, which is the fact that she's prone to interruption. But the speed increase actually compensates for that, allowing you to finish your combos and reposition easily, just to finish your basic combo chain or apply your skills. That's really good. Now, as for skills that change, let's check all of them, just to remember, and I'll mention the changes. So we have the launching attack, which is really awful as usual. You should not use it. It's a hold attack, melee attack. During normal attacks, hold attack, 10-second cooldown, performing airborne attack by lifting an enemy and slashing it continuously. Well, the animation is nice and it's pretty easy just to land all the hits. The fact that it starts meter and that you cannot launch enemies with super armor is pretty bad. It's the rainbow color skill, which it is okay, I guess, even though we're not going to use this. On green, reduces skill cooldown by 20%, increases damage by 25% on blue, and knock down the enemy hit by the falling attack on red. Yeah. I mean, usable. Now, Evil Strange. Range attack, hold the bait, 16-second cooldown, step backs, and disperses demonic energy within a certain area. 1 blue, recharge 5% of particles. 2 blue marks the enemy with blood mark lasting 8 seconds, and 3 blue increases critical rate by 50%. So something important to note of is that this skill was modified to have more hits, which is actually pretty good, pretty nice. The extra hit do make a difference, in my opinion. I at least they feel good. So you should get a little bit more damage out of this skill, which is nice. Vampiric Zone. Let's see, Vampiric Zone over here. Immediately before any attack, dodge, 14-second cooldown. During an extreme dodge, marks nearby enemies with blood for 6 seconds. 2 green increases the duration of the blood mark by 50%, so that's going to be 9 seconds on a 14% cooldown. 14-second cooldown. 2 blue increases attack range by 50%, which I think that I know that this doesn't sound like the most useful thing, but it's actually pretty useful. Because that gives you a ton of range for this effect to be active and for the enemy to be marked. And lastly, increases critical rate by 20% for 10 seconds. Probably the best effect. I mean, all of them are usable, but above is definitely worthwhile. Especially at 20% on 10 seconds. That's pretty strong. It is just critical rate, but it helps, especially on red. Blood Sight. So, melee attack, dash attack, 10-second cooldown, charges at the enemy, swings the side, and strikes with a Shadow Blade. This works on the main, so main green restores HP by 5% of damage dealt, I guess, not taken. Um, I mean, it's not a counter, so it's not damage taken. That's odd. Um, two blue, the main bloom. When striking the enemy, the sights adds an additional hit with an exploding shadow blade. Yeah, that has a way better animation and it expresses way better how many hits it deals. So I really like the update on this one. Main red increases speed by 15% for 10 seconds. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, Blood Sight. No. I don't see any changes to Blood Sight. So yeah, I mean, other than the animation did change. It's smoother, and you do feel the extra hits. Now, Vampire's Blood. Vampire's Blood. Basic attack is the basic enhancer, one of the two basic enhancers. Enhances normal attacks by performing additional attacks with demonic power. Increases speed by 5% with one supporter. With two supporters, increases attack speed by an additional 10%. And with three supporters, increases particle charge amount by 50%. The best basic enhancer in the game, and it is pretty good as usual. They didn't change this one. Rendering sight, they did change this one. So, melee attack and range attack at the same time. Immediately after attack, dodge. 3-second cooldown, performs an additional attack right after the last attack, performing a range attack by throwing a shadow blade when a set effect is applied. So this works with pure color builds. 3 green, the shadow blade tracks the enemies. 3 blue, reduce the damage taken by 20% for 10 seconds. 3 red, increases critical rate by 20% for 10 seconds. Let's see. I know that the duration changed. It used to be 5 seconds and now it's 10 seconds. Let me just check. The name is Rendering Sight. I have the list over here. Yeah. So, yeah, the red not only changed the duration. I mean, it used to be increased skill damage by 25%, but now it gives us a buff, which allow us to do different combinations to get the same effect. If you don't want to use Vampiric Zone because this is not a damaging skill, it is viable to just use Rendering Sight instead to get the critical buff. In fact, I have a build that uses just that. It is more aggressive and perfectly acceptable. But I gotta say, using Vampiric Zone is easier. It's more, let's say, beginner friendly. You don't have to worry about the timing or everything. You just do a perfect dodge and you get the buff. Pretty simple. So yeah, this skill used to be basically worthless. It's not that the most you could get out of this was the defense on a blue build. It was good for getting damage reduction, but the duration was too short for how much you have to wait for this for you to activate this. I mean, it says 3 seconds, but you have to add the duration of the basic change combo or the duration of your skill, and then the cooldown. So yeah, it wasn't. Even though they say 3 seconds, don't fall for that. Whenever you see immediately after attack, that's that has to have that short cooldown because you have to wait extra. Then Orochinagi. Orochinagi is basically the same. They just did one small change, which is very significant. So, melee attack, hold the bait, 12-second cooldown, charges briefly, then swings her scythe in a circular motion to perform an area attack. 1 red, gain super armor while attacking. This is amazing. It used to be reduce speed of the enemy by 10%, which, I mean, they could have left that effect. It wouldn't matter that much. It is useful, but what really matters is having that super armor. And technically, they say that they also increase the speed. I don't notice that much of a change in the speed, but perhaps it is faster. Then, the 2 red increase attack range by 50%, and 3 red increases critical damage by 250%. That's the reason why we have skills that increase critical rate on red, because you want to guarantee crit this. If you don't crit, it doesn't do that much damage. But if it crits, it eliminates the enemy. As simple as that. Then, Shadow Blade is the second basic enhancer. Melee attack and range attack at the same time. Enhances normal attacks by charging changing the last attack to a range attack that throws a Shadow Blade. One support increases damage by 10%, two supports increases damage by 20%, by an additional 20%, and three supports increase particle charge amount by 50%. To say the truth, no one ever uses this. And they did change something about this, and it's the animation, because they changed the animation of all the sides, the sides that follow the target or that just get shot at the target. Yeah, they changed the animation for that. Then, Slaying Spree. Range attack, hold, evade, 18-second cooldowns, performs a range attack by throwing a Shadow Blade that tracks the enemy. 1 green decreases the speed of the enemy that got hit by it by 30% for 15 seconds. Busted. I have always said this is busted, and it is so. Trust me, it is just disgusting how much control you get out of a damaging skill that tracks the enemy on top of that. 2 green, her skill motion changes and she throws 2 more Shadow Blades. 3 supporters increase the damage by 150%. So this remains the same on the set effect, but they buff it. The duration of the sight lasts longer, which is amazing. I mean, it was already disgustingly good, and now it's even more broken. So yeah, I love this. And lastly, Sanguine Smash. Sanguine Smash? I don't know how to say it. Well, this one used to be a counter, which was awful. Now it is not. Range attack, during normal attack, hold attack. Just changing the command activation makes a huge change that makes this skill worthwhile. 12-second cooldown, releases demonic energy to an enemy, targeting them with Blood Mark, lasting for 8 seconds. So this is competing with 2 skills, with Evil Strange, which you always use on blue no matter what, and with Vampiric Zone, which has 14-second cooldown, and this one is 12, and the duration is 6 seconds, going to 9 seconds on green. And we're competing with 8 seconds, always, no matter the color. So usually you're gonna use Sanguine Smash, it is just great. With 2 green, reduce defense of the enemy that got hit by 30% for 10 seconds. This set effect is just great. They also changed this one, the blue one. It used to make the enemy groggy, now it stuns them, which effectively is the same, so I don't know exactly which is the difference, but they write that on the notes, so I guess it's different. And lastly, set 2 reduces enemy damage by 20% for 10 seconds. That's for the most part unimportant. You only care about this skill if you want to mark the enemy and not use Vampiric Zone. If you want to use Rendering Sight to be more aggressive and then you use Sanguine Smash, Rendering Sight, or Chinagi, that's fine. But you could just go with the simple option of Vampiric Zone or Chinagi, and that's it. It is a little bit less convoluted, but we can do it however you want. I mean, this one provides more damage than just Vampiric Zone or Chinagi. Now, let's check this character on tower. So we're gonna start with Red. And we're gonna check the weapon. As usual, we're gonna check all the weapons. So let's just check that we're gonna use Nightfall, and I have it 5 out of 5 plus 15. I decided to roll on the banner because the weapon was overperforming at 2 copies, and I said, well, let's try it at 5, then it's gonna be extremely good. You don't need this. Let me tell you, you don't need this. It is good for challenging content. But if you already invested on this one, Reaper's Wing, you're golden. That's fine. This is just for people who want to compete on I don't know, what's the name? Total War, for example, or that kind of PvP content or competitions anyways. Besides, she can do well with the Momochi weapon or with her side of deity, so that's a thing to consider. As I mentioned, I'm using this 5 out of 5 plus 15. All of my builds are going to use the same weapon. Well, not all of them, but most of them are going to use the same weapons as Magatamas. In this case, critical Magatamas. Whatever attack Magatamas, whatever weapon, 5 out of 5 plus 15. And then, Orochinagi, Rendering Sight, Sangain Smash. The combo I just mentioned. Sangain, Rendering, and Orochinagi. That's all I'm going to do. I mean, maybe a couple basics, but this is the kind of combo that you want to use. If you don't go with this build on red, maybe you want to use Vampiric Zone, Blood Sight, and Orochinagi. Blood Sight pairs well with Orochinagi because you're going to do it faster. So that's something to take into consideration. You might use the basic enhancers. Yes, you might if you want. It's not necessary. And there are disadvantages to using that. Mainly the fact that you can get interrupted because you have no super armor. So, Fuyutsuki to gain huge amount of damage. And Barretta because it is the most disgusting red critical supporter that we have right now. And Eleanor to guarantee those crits and provide a little bit of damage increase. Because we have the semi-FTP option of Anne Rose. Now that I think about it, I could get the last copy now that they reset that. Well, in any case, you can get Anaros. No, you cannot get Anaros. You can use Anaros to increase the critical rate and HP. And also to restore more HP, but you don't need it with this particular character. In case you don't have that, you can just use Yukina or maybe Susune. Anything that you want, depending on context. And if you want the F2P option, that would be Homura. Homura, it's okay on this character because she can heal easily, so that's not an issue. Stella, of course, and Shirayuki. That would be like the most F2P build that you could do. Stats of the customs, stat training, and let's do the run. These runs are gonna be extremely fast by comparison to any other of my videos. I mean, perhaps not the fastest, but really, really fast. And yeah, that's it. That's it. You see? You see what I mean? Yeah, she was already a decent DPS, but now she's just too broken. Yeah, there we go. Nice. And look at the amount of buffs that she can get. She is pretty aggressive and a good pair for Melt and Kana. And I reposition over here. I just do this, and Orochinagi. Yeah, and that's it. Done. Orochinagi is one of the strongest skills out there as long as you crit. If you don't crit, then it's not as good. Okay, I think I missed, but let's do Orochinagi. Just to defeat these mobs. And... oh, it didn't. Okay, well, there we go. Now I have to wait for the enemies to gather. And once they gather, I use this, and this. Voila. Obviously, Kirara is going to remain because she has damage reduction from demon type characters, so that's why she didn't get one shot. And Murasaki because she's Murasaki, she's obviously tanky, but you saw how I just obliterated Nagi. Now on green, here I'm going hyper offensive, but you can do some other builds. I have shown some other builds and they're still viable. The combination of Ichika, I think it's Ichika, the poison F2P supporter that increases melee damage, with New Year Hebiko, that's still an option, just so that you know. So, same weapons, same Magatamas. Now, Slaying Spree, because it gives us a ton of damage and the speed reduction. Sanguine Smash to heal and reduce the defense of the enemy, and Vampire's Blood. Another thing to mention is that now this skill works different. She used to jump and launch the sides. Well, not launch, rather shoot them. They just disassemble from the main body and they start attacking while you were midair. Now you don't jump. You just shoot in front of you, which is, I mean, it's nice. You don't have to wait for you to for your avatar to descend, so that's an improvement in some ways. Now, lastly, I have the basic enhancer because since I'm abusing slow, I can. Then, now, damage increase on range damage and critical melee damage, so that's fine. Then Kowaru, one of the biggest damage increase in the game for critical, and Shinmora, Taimanin Shinmora, just to increase my damage as much as possible. Then that's all. Let's test it. I could wait the 100 seconds, but I don't need to. Let me show you. I just do this and then this. Voila. And they're done. I even defeated the big one. And you know how strong is the big one. So yeah, you can tell just by looking at that how disgustingly broken this is. There. Yep, stop over there. Stop right there. I'm just gonna obliterate all the mobs while you have no armor. And why not? I'll use the active. And yeah, it is just such a great DPS now. Felicia used to be a decent DPS. Now she's just way too fast for the enemies to stop. She can break the super armor pretty easily with her damage. So yeah, it is great. This is great. Should I? No, I won't use the ultimate. I'll use it on the next wave. Okay, like that. And then I just use this. Perfect. It's not hitting Momochi. Nice. You see that extended duration? It is pretty good. Okay, I just want to activate this. Yeah, look at the healing. Look at that healing. Of course it's gonna be that way. Yeah, pretty simple. She's just very, very strong. The weapon does help on content where the enemy has damage reduction. The penetration, it is amazing, but as I mentioned, not necessary. You can just use the Momochi weapon thanks to the amount of multi-hits that you have, and that would work. Okay, like that. And I can heal a ton, and I use the active to deal even more damage. And let's reduce the defense a little bit more. Just like that. And let me heal. There. Done. Done. Pretty simple. Yeah, Felicia's just strong now. Like super, super strong as a damage dealer. If you want to go F2P green, I mean, it's not the best thing to do, but you could go melee focusing on the basic thanks to Ichika and Kotone. Yeah, that's right. We have the new ones. We, of course, have Torajiro. You cannot use Baretta, but you could use Mitsuki. Yeah, Mitsuki you can use. So there's at least 4 supports that you can use for damage increase, and then you just put whatever you have. And of course, in VR, you want to use this. Then, let's go with the blue. First, let's go limited blue, and then we go with the mixed one. Yeah, because I decided to use the weapon that enhances blue instead of using the new weapon, which you just saw how good it is. This one is going to increase the range and the visual effect of Evil Strange, which is the pure blue skill, and increases the damage of the skill by 40%, and has a 10% chance to remove 5 buffs when attacking. So this is a pretty good weapon, even though it's not as good as the new weapon. It is really good for blue. That's why I'm using it. And of course, we just switch places, but the Magatamas are the same. Bloodside, because this skill is good. This skill is extremely good on blue or green. I mean, on any color, honestly. Vampiric Zone, just cause I can. I mean, I could use this, but I don't like the stun. And Evil Strange, to deal more damage thanks to the weapon, and because it is a blue build. Then, we use the Founding 3 over here to become tankier, gain a little bit of attack, and we put it on the main to gain a ton of attack. Then Felicia, and lastly, we have Anna Rose. But let's say you don't have all this limited gear. There's still a lot that you can do. First of all, just equip, over here, Sakuya. That's free damage reduction just because you use this. Then, if you want to go completely F2P, you would go with damage increase according to what you're fighting. And if it's a mixed build, well, you could use, I guess, Maka. Not the best option, but it's there. You can use things like Hebico. You can use many supporters. Of course, if you go limited, go with Kirara. If you want, you can use Kana. What other? If you're fighting a boss, Arabella, of course. Fighting human, go with white. I do not recommend Kurenai. You can, but I do not recommend it. You can go with Kaworu, especially on a basic enhancer build. That would be nice. And of course, there's the option of using Lapis. Talking about that basic attack. So, let's just do this super quickly. And I just need to use my skill. And look at the damage. It is beautiful how much hits it deals to every single enemy. Because before it did some damage, but it wasn't that big. Now I can feel the power. Yeah, even so, I mean, Murasaki, it is a very good build for dealing with mobs, but not for single target boss damage, as you can see. I mean, I still can manage, sure, why not? But it is not the same. Okay, I deal as many hits as I can. And I just... Oh, don't move! Let's see. There. Nice. And that should be it. Wave cleared. Now, should I? Okay, I will. But I won't destroy them. Yeah, I know. As long as I have some time for the cooldown to be reduced, that's fine. Now, I could use it one more time, but I don't wanna. I wanna use it on the next wave. Should I start with ulti? No, I'll start with the skills so that they go on cooldown, and then I use the ulti. One skill, two skills, I move, ulti. Done. And yeah, that dealt with Momochi. So yeah, this is an excellent build for dealing with waves of enemies. Honestly, all of them are good in some degree to deal with waves of enemies, but my favorite would be blue. Since Orochinagi needs to crit, otherwise it won't deal as much damage. And this one always crits thanks to the crit chance buff. Or well, set effect. Okay, just there. I'll use the active, and I'll use this, And I just want a couple hits, and that should be it. Perfect, perfect. Yeah, done. We just need to do a couple more. Skill activate. Oof. I got interrupted. Well, let's see. Come on, just... I could ulti. Yeah, I could. Or not. Or yes. Well, let's do the ulti. Done. Okay. So, we have one more build over here. And that's going to be the mixed build. But it's going to be focused on the basic enhancer. And for that reason, I'm going to use again the Nightfall. But you can use, like I mentioned, the Momochi weapon is a pretty good option. Thanks to the amount of multi-hits. Vampire's Blood, of course, the basic enhancer. Sanguine Smash, because of the aggressive defense reduction. And Vampiric Zone, just to have ways of healing, because this particular build is prone to interruption. Super prone to interruption. I could go with a Slayer Spree. Either, I might as well. I'll do it. Why not? Yeah. Because I want more ways to deal with the enemy. And both of these skills have great debuffs. So, to compensate not for the frailness, but rather the lack of super armor, invincibility is going to help a lot. And having this on the main is going to enhance my basic attacks. So, that's the reasons why I use this one. Lapis, because it increases speed and gives me more damage on my melee attacks. And Francis, because it gives me more speed increase and damage on my melee attacks. So, yeah, let's do this. Yeah, I know. 2 limiteds, I know. Not everyone has those. I just do this and then I basic. Look, I defeated the big one. Nice. First, I'll start by using the invincibility so that I don't get interrupted. Then I'll use the slow and then I just attack. And I use smash and I keep attacking. And I use spree and smash. Come on. Just like that, the healing. Yeah, I mean, Felicia has just become an extremely aggressive attacker with supportive capabilities, both debuffing and healing capabilities, but they are not their main role now. She wants to be an attacker that also brings extra stuff to the table, being healing and utility debuffs. Okay, I'll just start by using this, and now, and I just do the basics. Come on, all the basics. Come on, just like that. There. Perfect. Nice. Now I just obliterate the enemy. Done. Pretty simple. Yeah, you're not gonna die with this build. It is just that easy. They did great with Sanguine Smash. It used to be so bad being a counter. Like, usually the counters are pretty bad. There's a few exceptions. Really few exceptions. But they need to avoid the counters as much as possible. Unless they nullify damage or do a super great heal, they should stop using those. Okay. Basics. Just like that. As many basics as I can deal. Perfect. And done. Yep. So the basic strategy does work. It does work pretty well. You just have to use the invincibility and you're done. So, let's check the weapons that you have available for you. So there's a handful of good weapons for Felicia. Basically, all of them are good for her. Let's see. Where are you, Felicia? Over here. So let's start with the SRs. We have Otodachi. Otodachi gives you critical rate. I mean, at the start, perhaps you may use this if you don't have anything better or a UR, just to enhance your crit builds. But you'll drop this pretty quick. You do have an anti-trade weapon, an anti-demon weapon, which you can use pretty good, pretty good. It is definitely worth it. I was using it not too long ago on Total Wars, just so that you keep that in mind. We have the ambitious weapon. This belongs to the bad and ambitious weapon family because they originally had this terrible effect, so you should not buy the pack for Felicia, the one that gives you the ambitious weapon. It is not good, unless you want the skin. Then we have the Sakura weapon, which is premium, super premium. You get it with mileage. Forget about this one. We have wings, Reaper's Wing. So, increases damage dealt to enemies with debuffs by 15% up to 30%. Has an active that costs 6 particles. Deals 500 up to 1000 damage. 500% or 1000% of attack damage. And marks the enemies with bleed for 50% of the damage for 10 seconds. Not bad, not bad. The active is only that, not bad. But the passive is amazing. It is super, super great. And this is a weapon that many people have been using for a long, long time. Even forgoing the decisive weapon. Just because of how good it is and that it works on most scenarios. Then we have the PvP weapons. Select the one that you like and grab it. It is just a bit stick. And it does work. It is excellent to have this because if I'm not mistaken, this gives the most stats to characters. So it's great to have this on the sub slot. Then, Shikabane. Shikabane is the Momochi weapon. As you know, this is very good with characters that have high multi-hit attacks. And Felicia is one of those. Her basics are just disgusting. So you should use this weapon, yes. Even if she's not a supporter and she's a main DPS, this works perfectly. Do not disassemble this or dismantle it. It is just great. Then we have the other SR, which has damage against super armor, which not something that you want. You want to break the super armor, so you don't want that. Then Side of Deity Tsuyugiri. Okay, so slightly increases attack range and changes the visual effect of Eagle Strain. Increases damage of a skill by 20%. Has a 10% chance of remove 1 buff up to 5 buffs when attacking. So, this one is good on blue, but that's it. That's the issue. It is the kind of decisive weapon that only works on one color, but it works really, really good on that color. And do not underestimate this debuff removal capability. Is really, really good. Lastly, no, we have more. We have the snake weapon. You can make an ulti build with this one for Felicia, thanks to the fact that she has a speed increase basic enhancer. You might as well use this for that kind of build. But I wouldn't. I mean, there's better things that you can do with Felicia. The demonic weapon that you should only get one copy of and do not roll. It is really, really bad because there's no content where we can abuse this kind of a skill. And lastly, Nightfall. Let's check Nightfall. Reaping's Wings. Okay, increases damage and penetration to all enemies by 11% up to 22%. When attacking an enemy with Bloodmark, deals damage equal to 4% up to 8% of their current HP, activates every 10 seconds. That second part is really, really good to destroy bosses. And I wonder how it works with Edwin on Total War. It's gonna be weird because his HP works backward. It goes up. So, anyways, should you get a Felicia now after the rework? Should you roll for the weapon? Should you use her as your main DPS or as your supporter, healing supporter? Well, I mean, I don't think she's a high priority, nor is the weapon, especially if you already have either the Momochi weapon or the Reaper's Wing. If you have any of these two, you don't need this one. You may get it, and yeah, it is probably the best that we have right now for Felicia, but it is unnecessary. I actually got it because the one that I had was the decisive one, which only works on blue, but I didn't have any of these at 5 out of 5, so this works for me in my particular context. But if you already have this 5 out of 5 and plus 15, you can just skip the weapon. As for the character, she is not a better healer than Lapis, but she is a better damage dealer than Lapis. Well, depending on context. In most contexts, Felicia is going to be better at damage dealing than Lapis. Red maybe not, but that's another topic. So I don't think that you need her right away, but if it is very fun to play, if you like that, if you like the fact that this character provides a little bit of utility with healing and a little bit more of utility with the debuffs while dealing a lot of damage, then yeah, get the character. It is pretty good at that. But if you don't need that particular role of a main attacker with supporting capabilities of both healing and debuffing, you can just forgo this character. It is fine. It is not the most devastating character right now. Let's see. I don't think that it just dethroned Sora. Yeah, no. I don't see a Felicia over here, guys. So definitely it's gonna take some time before we replace Sora. So even so, it's gonna be pretty good for your total war score to use this new Felicia. Anyways, that's about it. I hope you find this useful. Let me know in the comments your thoughts about the new skills, the new activations, the how the leader skill works, and anything related to Felicia. Do you like it? Do you not? Do you think the visual looks good? Do you like the updated animations? Are you gonna roll for the weapon? Yes? No? Well, anyways, that's about it for today. I hope you find this useful, and I'll be seeing you next time. Bye!